Welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episodes on Global Talent Show. We have our Lisa from California. So we will discuss about the community development. My first question for Lisa, what are the most urgent social, economic and environmental challenge facing the community right now? You are observing in India, we have a challenge with the students communities and the government. So we call it cockroach party, cockroach Janata party, and massive revolutions happening. So how this kind of community actually come for this economic, social and environmental challenge? Yes, country like Bangladesh and India, we have economic challenge. What's your thoughts? How we can work together? How we can move to build a better society?
Oh my goodness. Well, it is a big job, but what we have is what I call the network of networks worldwide, a process that was started in Northern Europe back in the 1860s. The date of origin, of course, is under dispute. Some people say it was 1840. Some people say it was 1880. The British claim it was theirs. But it's been a good idea. And it's a system that I actually grew up in, where instead of charity organizations that constantly beg for money, and their services don't always cover the full population, just the portions they see, what we have is nonprofit collaborative systems made up of a number of former charity institutions that gather together and use the information that they take in every single day and collate it. That is, bring it all together so that they can use that data to negotiate for land, buildings, tools, equipment, services of all kinds. Many nations have no idea as to all the people that lie within their borders. They understand what many of the problems are, but without full information, what solutions can they provide? With a collaborative system, what this does is it takes that information literally from the ground up and brings it into its regions, to corporations, to government programs of all kinds that are designed around this newfound knowledge that the government departments have, that the ministries have, about the number of people they actually oversee. This information also gets used by governments in their negotiations with groups such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, who, with many nations, help them float their budgets for the year. Accurate information in negotiations, as we know, means a better end for all parties. But trust starts to be restored, not just between the negotiating parties, but between the governments and the people themselves. The collaborative system process, especially in areas where charity works have been the normal state of things for many years, they do take a while to get into, because we have to sensitize people as to the process and protocols for each. And well, with many, they want instant answers, but I believe that's more human nature. But through this process, what occurs is many get connected to others who do the same works that they do. They start to build coalitions. I want to call them unions, but they're not really unions because they don't work for a single entity. They work for the people themselves. But it is a coalition of sorts. And through that, they get to find out solutions that others have discovered in the works that they do in the areas they're at. And this opens the door for many other things, for architects, scientists, engineers, think tanks, brain trusts, government departments, so many possibilities for programs that they might want to run for sustainable development, sustainable building. how to clean up certain areas where a lot of damage has been done, either through overcrowding or lack of attention to waste disposal, or due to the wealth they may have under their soil. They can start to have better control over the environment around them, as well as maintain a very clear and clean communication with their ministries and other officials, who also use that information to go back and forth with groups of good works, other nations, in order to pair together and bring in new ideas, new solutions. So eventually what happens with these collaborative systems, everyone gets involved. In this, what is being called the fifth industrial revolution, which deals with data, what we are going to find over a short period of time, that data itself will end up having more value than anything we can pull up from under the ground. And that data is not only going to help the people that data comes from, it is going to help people everywhere. Because what we will find is just how great the brotherhood of man is, how large, how diverse, and how much we actually have in common. The old divide and rule management that many not too great governments have practiced in order to maintain control over wealth and monies and fill their pockets, well, that's going to wind up changing into another of a series of other methods, where it's not so much control as it is management and care, not solely for others, but for self. Because as we already know, if we help those around us, we actually help our own lives, making us feel more secure, more happy in many different ways. So there are a lot of different subjects that we can tackle on this. Just the collaborative system, how it's put together, it starts quite literally from the ground up. We already know that such programs that start at that level actually have more coverage of need and information that comes from those zones. Whereas top-down construct, which most nations use, there are always people that it misses. And in some zones, they miss a great many people. So through this other process, what we're looking at is the equivalent of what I like to call the pebble in the pool. It's just one idea. You drop it into one area, it starts to ripple out, and pretty soon you get ripples coming back. So it always returns. The works that we've been doing in Asia, North and South America, we're starting to get into the Northern European zone, and of course throughout Africa, which is our large area of concentration due to the amount of conflict that has been going on there. They have been proving quite fruitful. They do take time. That's the hard part. Everyone wants this yesterday, once they see what the plan is. But we can't move quite that fast because it takes time to change human minds. There are so many who wish to come forward with tales of their experiences or good things that worked in times past. But all of those programs, there were people they missed. The nonprofit collectives, the nonprofits themselves, the community-based organizations, the one thing that we do that no one else does on this planet, we count everybody. There are no exceptions. If you live, if you breathe, you get counted. This is how we have handled mass migration. Others coming into our nation to escape evils in the ones where they used to live. And through this process, we're going to find that our ability to help each other is far greater. And far more people do well. The return to agrarian societies in many different ways strengthens nations by actually raising their domestic product that they're able to sell. It also puts people in positions where if such a disaster occurs, more people survive because they have within their reach what it is that they need to do so. Government regulations for new programs, new ideas, new housing, new development, new methods of transportation, new methods of getting clean water in a number of ways. Bring solutions to environments of all kinds. And some people will be very, very surprised as to how simple these processes can be. Like I had one scientist tell me when being confronted with poisoning of water and soil due to illegal practices of waste dumping, of conflict mining situations. A solution that was given to me that works really well in remediating land under such conditions has been the growing of specific plants whose interaction with the soil actually repair and make it healthy again. There are similar things that are done with the water in areas where it's been damaged by huge amounts of waste or, once again, illegal practices, which abound everywhere. And as this all comes forward and we begin to share this information, what we do is we advance the body of knowledge in a major way and start to find out that it's not necessarily a pill that will cure all our ills. It could be just a basic food that we eat that we haven't had that causes our body to respond in specific ways that for generations, the doctors have said, take this, it'll do it all. You can't get it anywhere else. Well, we can. We've seen that. And we've seen how it works. So this restoration to what some would consider ancient knowledge, what it does is it validates the work of our ancestors. It validates the efforts that many have made to make things better, whether by trade or by travel or by moving to a new zone. So this collaborative system, yes, it starts on the ground. It works up from the ground. Through this process, collaborations with specialists in a number of areas can also not just take care of native issues that come in, like soil or land. What they also can do is restore communities and nations where all manner of things have occurred and depleted certain resources, especially for those at the educational levels of many kinds. I've watched universities, universities that lost their status and became institutions because they didn't have enough internship programs for their youth to be able to complete their degrees. Through this process, they get revitalized. Everything comes back. Because, of course, we all know that with our youth, knowledge is very important to their futures. And through these works, we can take this information that we've had in bits and pieces, hidden, buried in places for generations, if not hundreds of years. We bring them forward, and through these studies and these practices, start to show that, hey, if you put hemp in an area where the soil is poisoned, it could be restored in less than 2 seasons. I've seen some amazing things. I'd love to share.
Okay, excellent. So what's your advice for the government, private sector, and NGO and local organizations for achieving their goal for this long-term community development? And what's your closing remarks for today?
Well, My work as the Global Outreach Director for UnityNet International is to sensitize individual organizations on the ground as to what this process is. With government departments, ministries, heads of state, and their involvement, what happens is there's a constant conversation and constant contact. I have been to several meetings of the African Union to be able to say a word or two about where we are in specific areas, specific zones. I have been of late asked to bring a delegation to the DR Congo because the healthcare program that we designed for the United States government to give to that nation was actually accepted by them out of all the other programs submitted. And it is a very simple design, but one that works very, very well because it starts at the ground level and it spreads. So about the other groups in other areas around the world that are doing these same exercises, I would love to meet them. But for those in government departments, ministries, heads of state, feel free to contact me. I'm certain they can get my information from you, as well as several others in these forums that I've been in. And I look forward to that. Soon, our organization will be expanding internal administration, where there will be more people who, like me, are trained in this work. And I'm more than happy to share because it's information that brings in the best results when it's shared. A lot of people keep good ideas to themselves, thinking that's how they'll make the most money, that's how they'll have the most comfortable living and futures for their children for generations. Now, with this, all of that comes when we actually spread it out. Very much the opposite of what the capitalist ideas preach and try to provide. Now, once we do provide information, what we do is it comes back to us like that pebble in the pool, the ripples out on the water, that hit and return. So thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the great discussion. I request all of our audience, please share this content with the government agency and corporation and academia. Definitely community development is the most important factors in modern world, because with this community, we can solve educational problem, healthcare problems. We can work together and develop entrepreneurial ecosystem. For not-for-profit initiative, we can work like a social enterprise. So thank you, Lisa, for your valuable comments and for your valuable time. I request everyone, please share this content. Thank you. Bye-bye and take care.
All right. Bye-bye.